Hello, everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. Aimee Barrett-Theron. Autism is my superpower as a rugby referee. In a big year for rugby, with the women's editions of the Six Nations and World Cup looming, the South African referee talks exclusively to Olympics about how aspects of her neurodivergent qualities help in her role on the field. I'm not mad, I'm just really disappointed. Ouch. Those words from rugby referee Aimee Barrett-Theron to the captains of the England and Wales sides playing in a men's U26 Nations match in February 2024 were warranted after persistent ill discipline from both sides in the early stages. The comments hit a collective nerve, both on and off the pitch. So much so, the video, which revealed the conversation by the mic'd-up South African, and which ended with, "You both gave me buy-in before the game in the change room that you'd be able to control your players, so did you lie to me? Or is it something you can fix from now?" went viral. The conciliatory response from said players, "We'll sort it out, we'll fix it," brought a smile of recognition from many of the well-known admonishment. Prepping for the game, I knew that the players were in their 20s, and I'll give away my age, but I was nearly double the age, so I just felt like that was an appropriate way to get the message across in a way that resonated with a lot of people, as disappointed mum, Barrett-Theron told Olympics. In an exclusive interview ahead of the Women's Six Nations starting Saturday, March 22nd. The tournament pits England, Scotland, Ireland, Wales, France, and Italy against each other over a 5-week period, with Barrett-Theron scheduled to referee some of the matches. The players bought into it, which I'm very grateful for, and we had a smooth game after that, she smiled. So why did Barrett-Theron, a former player herself at the 2010 Women's Rugby World Cup and in sevens at Rio 2016, think the exchange resonated? I think initially when I first started reffing, I thought, I have to be this strict policewoman, and these are the laws. But actually you get much better player buy-in if you're just yourself on the field, and I think that that is hopefully resonating with the public as well. This is one of my goals in reffing. Just bring that human factor, bring the Aimee factor, bring the being authentic, because I know I'm quite different to some of the other referees and their performances. Authenticity key for rugby referee Aimee Barrett-Theron. Barrett-Theron knows no other way than to be authentic. A late-stage autism diagnosis in the past couple of years, something she says is particularly common for women due to a lack of focused research, is something she is exploring, with both the challenges and superpowers that entails. One of the former is brutal honesty. The way I say things, I can be a little bit blunt, she says, specifically citing referee meetings as an example, but I've learned to engage. Over time, in different environments, what's appropriate, what's the best way to get a message across? Other traits are happily helpful in her role as professional rugby referee. A hyper-focus on rugby involves religiously watching every match she can find in her downtime to learn all she can about the game, while a strong sense of fairness equates to an ability to step back and see both sides. See the bigger picture, says the Cape Town native. I'm fascinated by the game and love everything about it, she tells us, while also describing herself as a fangirl, but all the things that I really believe in, the fairness, the laws, all of that aligns really well. Sensory processing and overstimulation are also neurodivergent qualities managed by Barrett-Theron, whose description of how that manifests itself on the Good, the Scaz, and the Rugby podcast was telling. I struggle with sensory processing. It's overstimulating, said Barrett-Theron to host Elma Smith and England players Emily Scarrett and Natasha Hunt in November. Like our referee dinner last night was 50 people in a restaurant having dinner. Everyone's talking, and I would take quiet breaks and I would go outside and then come back just to regather myself. But then put me in a stadium with 30 people coming at me at an intensity with 40,000 people in the stands, plus that noise in my earpiece, and it's the most quiet it's ever been for the whole day. It should be completely overstimulating, she tells us when we ask about it, but it's not. Aimee Barrett-Theron using her platform as an international referee. Talking about her autism has been a process in itself, with Barrett-Theron still exploring how she feels about being open about the diagnosis in the first place. It's probably always tough being one of the first, and you do tend to get a little bit of. It hasn't necessarily been negativity, but it was kind of like, why do you feel the need to speak about it? But I'm an international referee and I have a certain platform, and I want to challenge the mold that we, as referees, are as authentic as possible. I don't think we should be robots. Learning more about her own diagnosis and how it impacts her work in particular makes her better at her job, she says, which is likely to include working at the 2025 Women's Rugby World Cup, taking place from August 22nd to September 27th in venues across England. I've found a lot of comfort in the last couple of years since I've explored my diagnosis. I'm more myself, and that means I ref better. The response from her honesty is telling. Since the podcast, I've had a couple of people, top women's footballers in the UK and cricketers and other people in women's sporting spaces, and parents and mums of kids with autism, and just so many people have reached out since I first spoke about it, she told us. And she has further advice for those starting out on understanding their own neurodivergent pathways. They need to embrace their own things, because the first impression when, in the podcast, I just came out and people who don't know a lot about it were like, oh, shame, that must be tough. And I'm like, no, it's a really good thing, and you have to try to educate people into why it is such a good thing. As in, this is just how my brain thinks compared to others. Now that she better understands herself, so do those around her, and when Barrett-Theron maybe acts out of the ordinary to help manage her traits, she's happy to hear one phrase. Please subscribe the channel, share this with a friend, thank you.